To Shaping Success with me and my co-host Robert Watson in the house. We are here on a Monday, the Monday after Thanksgiving. Hope you guys had a great one. Robert, how was your Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving was just wonderful. Very, very low key. Um, just, basically football and food.
Yeah, that's funny. We stepped into ours, and it's kind of the way that it goes in my house. Is we always have arguments, and for once we did not have arguments, so it was kind of nice. Sorry, my TikToks. There we go. My TikTok stream got a little goofy. But it's that thing that, hey, let's talk about this, let's talk about that, let's blah 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 blah. And it was funny because we have one family member who will stir the pot, and this year that pot didn't get stirred, so it was kind of nice. My dad sent out an email and he said, "These are the things that we will not talk about." And so that was a running joke in the house that we didn't talk about that stuff, and so it was kind of nice because it actually did kind of work out. We had a couple turkeys that we barbecued, and I went in with it. I've been cooking mine a certain way for the last 3 years, and I went into it. I knew my older brother. He's an engineer, and he's got this way of doing it. And he's like, I go, we'll know what way is the best way because next year you'll be cooking it that way. And he took his turkey off and instantly started complaining about the way that it turned out. And then mine had to cook a little bit longer, which was kind of weird because the way that I cook it, I do what they call a spatchcock, where you fillet it open and you just lay it down flat instead of stuffing it and roasting it from the inside out. And it just cooks more solid all the way through. And I cut it and you can just see the juices just kind of coming out of it. It's not the traditional way, but I don't really care because I'm not a big fan of turkey, so it better taste good. And, he instantly took a bite of mine, and it was kind of funny. So I think he told me, he goes, yours was way better. So we'll see if he does it that way next year.
Oh, I love it. That's a good start. That's a very good start.
So it was fun. So what do you have on your mind this morning?
I had something really important to say, and it escapes me. Seriously, like 2 days ago, I was going to talk about a subject, and I said, "Man, that'd be perfect for Monday." And whatever it was, it just completely left me. But it is interesting because we must, I guess, cover the president pardoning his son.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, which again, I'm not trying to get into the whatevers, but this is interesting because they kept running clips of him basically saying he would never do it, and his spokesperson saying he would never do it.
Right.
Here's the point. If that was your kid, I would do it.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think that's something to think about a lot, and we can talk about that because it's funny, that is your kid, right? And you have the power to get your kid, kind of to let him off the hook for something that you did. The funny thing is that when you pardon him, you're immediately admitting, in my mind, that there was no way that he was going to get away with it, right? Like it was going away. And so like, I feel like that's some sort of an admission of guilt, but with kids, it's kind of funny. And I notice this all the time. I'm kind of a little bit different. If you do something wrong, I feel like you need to admit that you're doing wrong and you need to take credit for what you did and own it. Right. And I have family members that are kind of the same way, that they do these things and they never really own it. But the parents, and this is on both sides, it's kind of crazy. It's not crazy because it's the way it is, but the parents will always be the one to defend their children. No matter what, right or wrong or indifferent, they're going to say, well, there was this, or well, there was that, or this or that, or blah, blah, blah. Like there's always a reason why it's okay when it's your own child. But when you go the other direction and you look at children for someone else, is like, your children are different than my children. So if your children did that, they deserve to be in prison. They deserve this, they deserve that, whatever it is, like they should be punished to the nth degree. But when it's yours, it's not that way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very much, I raised 4 wonderful kids, and I'm very much into you need to take responsibility for what you do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at this situation from a parent's perspective and also from an American's perspective, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, so he did it. Okay, so what? Okay, fine. There's penalties and all that. Totally get that. But I'm the father with the power to pardon him. Like
Mhm.
you said, basically a pardon is an admission that, like, he's been found guilty, and now it comes to sentencing. And would he get a fair shake in the system? I don't know whether he's going to get a fair shake or not. But as a parent, I'm probably going to do it.
Yeah. I
Right?
mean,
That's
you
yeah,
have the opportunity to do it. Then you can't blame the
yeah.
guy for doing it. I just what really bugs me is the fact that you get kind. It does. I don't even know if it bugs me. It just kind of gives you the idea of this is what's going on. Like if they're telling you they're going to do something and there's a problem and this is okay and blah 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 blah. If he
Yeah.
says he's not going to do it and then he does it, that's a completely different story. So if he's gone against his word on that, what else has he gone against his word on? And someone's in here saying what a joke Trump Parker does is the worst criminals. Well, yeah, that's fine, but don't say that you're not going to do something. I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. I like you said, like if it's your kid and you're faced with the fact that this is what's going on, what would you do?
Well, it was interesting because the first president that was actually held accountable for his words, strangely enough, was Bush 41.
Mhm.
And Bush 41 was given this idea that he had went back on taxes, right?
Right.
And he basically went ahead and went along with Congress and raised taxes, and he paid unmercifully for it at the polls. But it just seems like after that there are no consequences to your actions and your words. In other words, I can say whatever I want to, and it's going to happen.
Right.
There's no consequence to it. And so yeah, I agree with you. Why bother even saying no?
Yeah.
Just simply say, you know what, you'll find out at the end of my term.
Right.
If this is the end of my term, you'll find out. And again, that's the two-facedness of the politicians that I dislike so much. Is listen, just I don't blame you for doing it, but
Yeah.
really, there should be consequences for your words.
Yep.
Fortunately, when you're a lame duck and you just lost the election or whatever you did, you didn't even lose the election technically. Again, consequences. I know there's no consequences now, but
Yep.
that's the whole point of these elections. The same thing for Trump. Listen, you said you were going to do a bunch of things. You better do them. But
Yep.
again, hey, what's the consequences? Because you can't win another election, right? I
Yep.
think the consequences should be that you lose the House and the Senate if you don't do what you say.
Yep. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Good morning,
and I don't
Nikki.
get into and I don't get into this whole, and I appreciate the comment down there, but
Yeah.
worst criminals, come on, explain to me lesser minor. Come on, seriously. It doesn't matter. I'm not blaming the man for doing it. He's a parent. I get what he's doing.
Yep.
I'm not going to get into this whole lesser and greater degree thing. Come on, man. Seriously.
Yeah, I mean, and
Um,
that's the thing. It's like it doesn't matter what it doesn't. The fact of the matter is, again, is if it was your kid, what would you do? And you got to think about that. And I don't know. I mean, it's interesting though because there's a lot of things happening, right? Like this New York Trump case. It's funny. My friend Jay did a podcast about it the other day, and I didn't really put it into. He put it into pretty good perspective about them and how they're like all of a sudden they're dropping this case now that he's got elected, but they would have continued to go after it. But it's a joke. There's 34 counts for every single payment of this thing, so there's a count for every single payment that was made. And instead of it just being one count for making the payments, they're going to do it for every single one, and it's just kind of a joke, even when all the facts are there. And I honestly, like,
yeah.
for me personally, it doesn't matter what he does in his personal life. They're saying that he used campaign funds to pay for it or whatever. It doesn't matter. There shouldn't be a felony count for every single one, but there's not enough data to back that up either. So here we go. It's kind of that double standard, right? It's okay to do that. It's okay to do this. There's just all these issues with everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, it's just this idea that the law can be used as warfare
Hmm.
between partisan parties. That's not the point of it. The point of it was to create a just society, right? And
Yeah.
that's not where we're at. We're in a situation where society is very unjust. And
Hmm.
that's not what we aspire to. And I think that's the issue. And again, I am not going to criticize him for pardoning his son. That's what I would have done. But
Yep.
I'm intellectually honest enough to say that. And that's the
Right.
sad part for a lot of these people who are not intellectually honest enough to say, That's what I would do. Come on,
Yeah,
man.
and I'm just gonna, with him, it's kind of to that point where it's like I'm just gonna. I know it sounds kind of stupid, but I'm just gonna give the guy a pass. I mean, he's gone.
Yeah, yeah,
He's hopefully he can go find a place to relax and rest and live out his life. He's a lifelong political figure, president. He's our president. He is what he is right now, and we got another one coming in, and hopefully he can do his job as well. And like you said, if it
absolutely.
doesn't work out, if he doesn't do his job the way that everyone feels like he needs to do it, then what's going to happen? He's going to lose
Yeah,
his job.
there was a quote. Now, this is, I do remember. Just because people love drama, right, doesn't mean we have to show up for the performance. That was the quote that I wanted to read and remember for
That's a
this.
great one.
Right? Because here's the thing, this is more drama.
Right.
Okay. I don't care about drama. It was interesting. There was this IG that came out and it basically rated the 12 astrological signs for degrees of drama. I was number 12. Miriam was number 11. I mean, we literally hate drama,
Uh-huh.
right? And there are people that absolutely love it, that they're constantly stirring the pot. I don't. And it literally, media gets paid to stir drama.
Yeah.
But as a people, I get tired of it. That's why I don't listen to media.
Hmm.
Um, Come on, man. You're really going to sit here and have this big, long discussion about what a father does to pardon his son? Come on, get real.
Yeah.
Move on to something more meaningful.
Well, there's nothing, and I don't know if I think we've maybe talked about this before, but there's nothing more dramatic than the stuff that's going on. And you see this, it's kind of funny, like The View. That TV show, who the hell watches that show? But I see the clips all the time of these people talking about dumb shit, and like that's what gets them the views. Do they say stupid stuff on purpose to get people to come watch them? Is that what they're doing? Because it's insane. And Whoopi Goldberg was talking about how she has to work for a living and she can't afford this and that and blah blah blah. And everyone's like, seriously? You make like $800,000 or $8 million, $800 million a year or something like that, and you're gonna tell us that you know about what it's like to suffer, to struggle to make your house payment, to live paycheck to paycheck? Because if you are, you're not the person that I want standing on their soapbox telling everyone else how to do shit.
Right. I mean, that again, it used to be said that there was no such thing as bad press,
Hmm.
that good or bad press could be used for your advantage. And I think a lot of people believe it. And I know one thing, Trump, prior to running for election, believed that.
Hmm.
So he just wanted to be on the front page or whatever. He literally, that's how he became, I guess, well known, was him understanding that any media is good media.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think these people try to create drama, try to stir something. And I mean, you feel like that when you do your podcast is, okay, what's going to make sense? What are people going to pay attention to?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of times it's people being what? You know, being asses.
Yeah. Being
And we
negative.
pay attention to it. Right. It's sad, but that's kind of where we is as a culture. That's why I kind of, in some respects, that's why sports is so clear-headed for me, because the drama's real.
Yeah.
Okay, if you've got a minute left in the game and you're down by 7 and you got 35 yards to make it to the end zone, and you got about, you know, what, 10 plays max.
Yep.
Here's the thing: you got to get in the end zone. That's real drama. People
Right.
can say, well, it's created because it's a sport. Yeah, but there's a reason why we like sports.
Yep.
Sports mimics life, right? We learn so many lessons from it. And the point is that drama is interesting. And at least for me, it is, because there's a certain skill to doing what they do. And
Hmm.
it's not something you can do by accident. It's not like we're sitting there flipping coins,
Yep.
right? These people are actually fairly talented. I don't know if you watched the game in Buffalo, the snow game, right?
Nope.
But
I
it
didn't
brought
watch.
back, oh my God, it brought back the coolest memories. So I grew up when I was really young in Cleveland, Ohio. So we played snowball, right?
Uh-huh.
Was when we would play football when it was so bad that I would go back to throw a pass and I knew generally where the receiver was, but I couldn't see him,
Right.
right? And so you throw the ball and you make sure you got air under it, because you throw the ball and the receiver will wait for it to come out of the white.
Hmm.
But here's the thing, everything slowed down. You played football at half speed. And
Yeah.
when you got hit, you'd slide, right? Like 8 feet. And watching that game last night so reminded me of growing up. It was so much fun because everybody was running really, really slow, right? Because
Yeah.
you just can't move.
No
But it
matter
was
what
really
you
neat.
do, because there's no such thing as,
No,
yeah. And it's funny because I'm, as you're saying that, I'm having flashbacks to my high school playing days where it was the same thing. Like you go into the late season. So if you're playing in Thanksgiving, there's a good chance you're going to be playing in snow. And we're playing
right.
on grass because we have grass. We don't have turf like they have now. Almost every high school team around here has turf. And the grass is, the ground is hard. That's where it freezes, right? Freezes from the top
Right.
down. And you got those hard rubber molded, or not molded, but hard cleats that are having a hard time penetrating. You need longer ones to hopefully get some traction. But yeah. As an offensive lineman, I never had to worry about catching the ball, but I did have to worry about keeping my footing while I'm trying to drive the guy in front of me, or at least hold him in place so that things can happen, right? In slow
Yeah.
motion, as you're saying, I'm like sitting there gingerly taking those steps and trying to get traction. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, because you're on the verge of always falling down. But it's
Yeah.
really, I remember how much fun it is. It was one of the referees that was asked, "Did you ever ref one of these games?" He says, "Yeah, it's really kind of nice. No one's in a position to cheat."
Yeah.
He said, "Because everybody can barely get around, right?" He
Right.
says, "It's really kind of nice." And when you watch the game, it was really fun to watch. And occasionally, when you do something right, in other words, you can actually get a ball to spiral. It's fun, but it just so reminded me of my childhood because my dad would come out and get me and go, "What the hell are you doing?" Because I mean,
Yeah.
it was blizzard, it was whiteout conditions, and we're just having the best time.
Yep.
Kids being kids, man.
Yeah. It's insane. I'm looking at the score right now and I'm kind of a little bit disappointed. So I grew up a 49ers fan because, that's where I was born. And I stopped liking the 49ers when they traded away my favorite player, Joe Montana. And now it's kind of like I'm a closet fan for them because I want them to do well, but I also don't care because they piss me off. So it's kind of funny.
Yeah, but that's all back to this whole idea of drama, and we see so much created drama versus actual drama. Listen, when I jump out of a plane, that's actual drama,
Right.
right? Because here's the point: chute don't open, I get a reserve. Reserve don't open, well,
Splat.
that's it,
Yeah.
right? And you just begin to understand what's real and what's not, what's constructed, and it's like shows. I mean, we understand. Everybody gets really into what's going on in the show. Realize it's created, right? It's
Yep.
scripted drama. I mean, that's the one thing that we like as purists, right? Like when I'm flying a plane.
Yep.
What was that?
That's
Very cool.
that's my friend Vina. Good morning, Vina. She's sending some confetti. Thank you very much. What do you think about? So, speaking of the drama, have you seen this? And I'm sure you have. I'm just going to ask you the question. But what about the Kansas City thing? What about that? What did you think about that call? There's a lot of people calling and saying that Kansas City gets a lot of lucky calls and stuff like that. Do you think that the NFL is actually scripted and that they're actually, winning or losing the games and it's predetermined, kind of like WWF?
No, there. Do I think that people get reputations? Like, for example, this will reckon you back. There used to be a guy named Lester the Molester Hayes, who
Mm.
was a cornerback for the Raiders, and he had stickum on his hands. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
stickum bad, like he could hold the ball like this.
Uh huh.
And so you get a reputation for being a dirty player or being an aggressive player. But as far as what I've known, is there's holding on every play,
Uh huh.
okay, that doesn't get seen.
If you're not
So
cheating, you're not
it's
trying.
not, you're not, well, I mean, but yeah, I mean, the reality is everybody's trying to find an edge.
Right.
That's the way the game is played. So do the referees catch everything? God, no. Do some teams, like for example, did Tom Brady get better calls than the third string quarterback who nobody knows? Of
Right.
course he did, right? When Tom would stand up and look at the referee back there, right, and go, "Hey, what the heck," right? Do you try to tell me that he was not he wasn't arguing that call. He was arguing the next call, right? Putting the referee on notice. Hey, listen, the next time that guy hits me late, you need to call it,
Yeah.
right? And here's this referee, there's this icon, this goat, right? I mean, do you really want to be the guy? So does he get more call? Yes, he does. That's just humanity.
Right.
I mean, that's where I think. So no, do I think it's scripted? No.
There was,
Too many things can go right or wrong in a game.
yeah. And that's the thing. I think it's like with baseball, they keep talking about these robot umpires, and it's like, is this really the way to go? Someone who can really create what I think part of the allure of it is that there are people and they're not perfect, and this is what we, as much as you hated like Angel Fernandez, one of those guys. He is he's the worst umpire of all time according to everyone. It's like that's part of what makes the game what the game is the human error of anything, you know.
Well, you remember what the deal was, right? So you get out there and you're warming up, and you know the umpire behind you, and you know he calls them inside, or he has a small strike zone or a large strike zone. All you do is look at it and go, "Oh, this guy's calling tight today," and you
Yep.
literally would talk to your pitcher that way,
Yep.
right? He's not giving anything away. You'd see guys come up and crowd the plate, right? And the
Hmm.
umpire would let them. I mean, that's the part of the game. I like that. That's the gray area that gets interesting, right?
It's adjustments that you have to make in order to,
Yeah.
make
You
yourself
coach.
better.
My coach used to say this over and over again, and I know you heard it 100 times because everybody has always been robbed. I remember one time I got called. There was a foul called on the basketball court, and the referee couldn't figure out which one of it was, so he kind of looks at us all and then tags me. And I'm like, I wasn't even in on the play. The whole point our coach used to say was, don't ever let the game be so close as to be decided by a referee.
Yeah.
Why did you allow it to be so close? In other words, leave no doubt.
Yeah.
If you
Make it
beat
work.
somebody by 28 points, you ain't got to worry about what the ref's saying.
Yeah. We got one more thing let's talk about here before we roll out. And I know we're talking NFL today, but it's funny because I feel like I'm just talking the headlines because that's all I really see because I don't watch it very often. But I did see this. What do you think about the hit on Trevor Lawrence? Did you see that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Wow. Okay, this is trying to protect quarterbacks, and this is probably the one thing that I will say, as being a quarterback for a long time, it was picked up and pounded into the ground. That shot was, that was grievous. Now, was he aiming at his head? I don't believe he was. But the point was, it doesn't matter. He came in with these guys. They're not trying to make clean tackles anymore, and you see this, right?
Yeah.
You see guys coming off, hitting somebody, and then bouncing off and stuff like that because they're not wrapping up. They're not doing what they should. This hit, wow. I mean, you immediately knew that he was out.
Hmm.
This is one of those hits that you go, okay, no, he's done. I mean, the concussion alone from the impact was, you just have to look at it and go, oh, crap, that's bad.
Well, and I'm looking at they've got a freeze frame right now. I had to Carl's in the house. He's a big 49er fan. I had to look at that score when we were talking about that. But seeing it, you can kind of see his knee is down and this guy is on his way there. Like he's completely down. He's slidden. And it used to be that, if you could catch the guy before then that's what you're doing. And I can see how the guy probably thought that he was doing the right thing. And I can also get to that point where you sit there and you think about how fast you're moving. And if you're that person who has the mentality like me, like playing catch with a baseball, if I don't throw it as hard as I possibly can, or, at least 75%, it's not going to get to the place where it needs to go. If I throw it half speed, I'm not going to get it there. And I could just see these guys are professionals. They are the best of the best of the best. So they should be able to stop. a little bit quicker, but I could also see, you know, this guy going 100 miles an hour and trying not to, or being able to try and stop after he's already, you know, going, right?
Yeah. Again, this is one of those, I'm not a big use my body as a projectile kind of person. And you can kind of see that if you look at the hit,
Uh-huh.
he's not trying to tackle him.
Yeah.
We can all sit and have a long discussion about body control, but the reality is he's not trying to tackle him.
Yeah, his arms aren't like in the still that I'm just looking at the still. I need to go
No.
back and watch the video, but his arms are like this. Like he's not like this, like a wrap up, like you said,
Yeah.
like they train you to do
Yeah.
from the get go. Hey, this is how we're going to do this. We're going to wrap this person up. We're going to go.
Yeah, and I think that could be the argument that could be made, 10 out of 10 times. Listen, he's not trying to tackle him.
Yeah.
If you hit him that hard and your arms are wrapping, I'm going to go with the defender, but you didn't.
Yeah.
Okay, you kind of turned yourself into a projectile, and consequently, you ripped the head off of a $30 million quarterback.
Yep.
And to be honest with you, these kind of shots, you can ask Troy Aikman. These are career enders.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is the first of a series of concussions, right?
Yep.
Because it doesn't get better. And so that's what they've been trying to take out of the game. And I get it, trying to hit quarterbacks low. Yeah, that's not good because that's knees. Trying to hit quarterbacks high because that's their head. Yes, I know we've gotten really ginger with them, but the reality is come on, man, really? Those shots to the head, that's traumatic brain injury.
Yep.
That's car crash kind of stuff.
Yeah,
gotta
Carl,
be a
if
little
you
bit sensitive to that.
go check out and we're talking about the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence got a late hit. They did a late hit on their quarterback, on the Jaguars quarterback, and it may be the season ending, how hard he got hit. So that's it. Yep, that's what we were talking about, guys. Hey, thank you for hanging out today. It's been another great episode with Robert and myself. We appreciate you being here. Thank you to Nikki, Michelle, Dionis, and Anna for all hanging out, subscribing, being here every single day. Carl, Vina, thank you guys for the gifts and the interaction. You guys can go to patreon.com/WatchTankersley to support the show for as little as $5 a month. You can also subscribe right here. Catch us Monday and Wednesday as we kind of, go through the headlines and talk about what's going on. We appreciate you all. Follow, like, comment. If you guys want to hear us talk about some stuff, tell us what you were looking for. Go to wes@westankersley.com. You can email me subjects that you want to hear us discuss. And Robert, thanks, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you all. Nikki, appreciate you. Have a wonderful week, everyone.
Yep.